What up, Issa? I'm playing what's called a Santor.
What is that?
I'm playing a musical instrument called a Santor.
That's what was making sound?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. You're not streaming anyone?
I'm live streaming this. I'm on YouTube. I'm playing music on
No
YouTube.
hatred for Jeff? Oh my god, like that. Like that. How are you?
You think I'm like? Oh, I see what you're saying.
No, if you're not streaming any rooms.
Yeah, I see.
I actually like your rooms. It's like a hideout, because all the people that don't like you, which are the noisy ones, they don't come in here.
Well, you could say I'm pure ego, so it's like you're hiding out in my ego.
Yeah, right, like that. And actually, the people I like Zed and Mike, they come here, and it's nice to have chats with them. Right, Maxine?
Yes, that is correct.
You know, Mixon, I heard you yesterday. You're very relaxed, you know? I haven't heard you get angry in quite a while.
I've been in the atheist spaces. Those places don't make me very angry.
It's kind of funny.
Why not?
I think you're like placating them, where you're asking like baby questions, in order to essentially just like facilitate the conversation. I think.
Well, see, like here's the thing. Most people don't think about metaphysics. It often doesn't matter that much. People shouldn't think too much about it. But of the people that like metaphysics, it's a select few that will discuss them, and even a smaller segment that will discuss them with an open mind. Most people that want to discuss like deep philosophical concepts do it within a strict school. There's the Catholic way, the Orthodox way, the Islamic way, the Jewish way. Those are schools. There's deeper metaphysics within those schools. But to have like a purely open-minded, like people that don't subscribe to any particular school, but want to discuss metaphysics,
Yeah. I mean, I guess my critique is that I don't think they understand your position, meaning that you're having a conversation, but like you don't even seem to have a point in the conversation. It's almost like your point is no point, or maybe I'm projecting. I don't know.
No, there's some truth there. Like, I think a lot of what they're doing is pointless. I'm just more like listening to them, which, that may be why you get the sense that I'm placating them. To some degree, like, I do think that, like, all of the theories or philosophies in metaphysics are basically just schools of people. And, like, the atheists just always kind of strike me as a mix between the kindergarten class that refuses to graduate and, like, the smoking nihilists out by the dumpsters. There's some mix between those two groups. And I've always liked those groups. I like kindergarten. I like smoking out by the dumpsters.
I learned how you put it. I like kindergarten.
Yeah. Like, they don't get into the deeper metaphysics because they're not committed to one of the schools. Like, they usually try to develop their own. They either try to stay harsh skepticism, don't take any position, and simply reject all the positions asserted. Then they usually develop, if they're interested, and they develop their own position, and then they're limited because they develop their own position. Chances are they got like one modern philosopher with that position, so they haven't seen. There just isn't much literature or commentary to support their position, or where it might contradict with other things they want to do. I'm saying that they're trying to follow their own mind, and that's commendable, but they're naturally then hampered by the abilities of their own mind, and maybe like a teacher that they find. It's a limitation to leave the school. Generational development on a single topic.
I think I get what you were saying, and I'm trying to think that might be what happens to me sometimes. But at the same time, it's like I don't ascribe to any specific idea, and kind of like my mind jumps from one place to the other.
Like that's the more primary point, which I wanted to highlight. No one needs to think or discuss any of these issues, like, at all. Most, like 99% of people will live a much better life not thinking into the deep metaphysics and underpinnings of reality and morality. They would do much better to simply know a couple of basics and then how to be good, and they'd be fine. That's really what should be done. However, the mind is capable of conceiving of these metaphysic ideas, these underpinnings, and it's worthwhile to pursue. There's a verse that discusses people that love to study metaphysics. It describes them as like two ways. One, God brings those dear to him close, implying that a focus on the study of metaphysics could result in ill health and an early death. And the other is if you eat too much honey, you get sick. The honey is like the metaphysics, the sweetest, most elegant ideas that are not even bound by the physical world anymore. Honey, but it makes you sick. Meaning it's a sweet, delicious, beautiful thing, but in the end, you are not an angel. You've got a fleshy body. You live on Earth. You gotta do stuff. And like, it's an imbalance of focus on like the spiritual components of man rather than the terrestrial. So like your refusal, like disavowal, like disdain for all the investigation, that's good and that's healthy. There's value in that.
making sense of it. However, I also not like I don't ascribe to a specific thing, but if you tell me, okay, if we're gonna look at Christianity or under the Bible, it's like I try to make an effort to understand it under that framework, within that framework. Now, what I saw them saying is that he wasn't able to leave his teachings on Islam. He wasn't able to conceptualize something that contradicts that, and that was correct.
Yeah, it's pretty common. A lot of people, when they investigate other cultures, it's usually through the prism of their own culture. It's not an easy thing to understand, appreciate, and accept a foreign culture like picture rather than yours.
And I think that is one of the errors that we have, in the West, when we try to make sense of Islam, and we're trying to understand it not only within our own frameworks, but Judaism or Christianity, things that we don't think are
Well, it's like just put on the skin, right?
talking about it will sway you, not your faith, yeah.
Yeah. Every once in a while that comes up. Somebody likes to accuse me of being an atheist.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of Muslims like to call me an atheist because it's difficult for them to because normally they want to take it to like a modern political stance. So if I was an atheist, then they could just say there was a crime committed in 48. But if they acknowledge that they're Jewish and religious, they don't really separate the politics from the religion. They do have a religious basis.
Exactly. And that is a huge difference.
And then, but then it gets complicated because their religious conviction, in their opinion, supersedes mine. Yet they also have innate within their religious opinion that I don't believe that their religious position supersedes mine. It's such a convoluted conversation for them to discuss Zionism with me, a religious Jew.
It is, and well, discussing anything with a Muslim, I think it requires mental gymnastics.
That's because they have a fascist ideology holding them together like glue. So the real book they should be reading is 1984. They need to understand the concept of doublethink. Also,
but they're not allowed to. That's the thing. The book forbids them to think outside of the book. Any concept that might put at risk or contradicts anything of the book.
Prevent people from reading something. That's the easiest way to get them to start reading it.
Yeah, but this is the way that they approach everything from the foundation of their religion. And you hear the imams, like preaching or saying things that I've heard some say that we're so lucky that everything was given to you and multiple expressions. You want to search the truth because it was given to you. How beautiful is that, they say?
No, there's an important thing about going through life and having the truth set out for you. And truly, that's a lot of what your ancestors want you to understand the way the world works and then explore the way that it continues to develop.
What do you think about, fear and trembling? Meaning that, the more you know, the more you know, the more you don't know, but also the more you know, because the more you don't know, the fear comes in, or the trembling of God, where it's you have to accept personal responsibility, and you say to yourself, oh geez, I can't be a terrible person because now that I know, or now that I know that I don't know. I mean, it's basically like maturation or maturity. I mean, there's just a lot of.
It's not that I don't think it's that the more you know, the more you don't know. It's the more you know, the more you realize that your knowledge pales in comparison to what you don't know. Meaning, it's not like you lost the knowledge you gained. It's that you gained it, and in gaining it, you realize that you're only looking at a small corner of a massive tapestry. And you didn't notice that at first. You just saw everything that looked green, looked nice. Then you widened your gaze and saw all of the black and the white. And you realized this was a massive design. That's why the more you know, the more you know that you know nothing. And you realize the light. There you go. Everything is light.
So wait, isn't that the ultimate metaphysic then? And what is light then?
Well, it was created on the first day. Vayehi or.
See, the Bible is real.
There you go.
Well, I mean, it's more than just that. I mean, light as a, science.
Yeah, and they always have it. He's like, follow the light, go towards the path of truth, the creative force of the universe. There's one creator of all the things, right? That is the simple basics. You can get past it in kindergarten. It's just unpacking what that means. You could spend your whole life, you'll never fully unpack it, which is why it's a super funny.
I came up with not an analogy, but an acronym, because I came out of a very intense meeting one time, a work meeting, and I said to this coworker, I said, I swear to God, I feel like this is just an anger simulator. And I said, do you know what the first three letters of light means? Lig. And he said, what? I said, let it go. That's what light means, let it go. And then then I was complaining later on and getting angry. And he's like, hey, buddy, Lig, let it go. Let it go. You're right. Let it go.
Hey, buddy, Lig.
Let it go. However, terrorize.
Well, you said God was the creation of everything, with the exception of time.
Now, that's a mistake. And he gave an explanation as to why he was doing that.
Don't you think time is just a compression of the past and the future?
That time is just a compression of the past and future. I mean, agnostic as to whether or not the past and future exist.
Yeah, so, I mean, according to us, the now is all there is. And so that's what I'm saying, the past and the future are compression. Thus, part of enlightenment is knowing that time is not even just relative. It doesn't actually exist because there's only this thing called the eternity, infinity, or the now.
Could be. Could be the past is a thing. It would also be interesting if the past was a thing, but it doesn't exist the way we've been tracking it. Right? We record the past digitally, but existence is only ever analog. Right? Our sense of like 12 years years ago and 5 years ago based on the events are very different from our objective measure. It'd be weird if the past was actually more like organic and fluid, and our records became sequential, digital.
There's this YouTube account that takes historical photos and then does AI video generation from the image, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the capacity we have to educate is growing.
Well, what I mean is, it's like taking a moment frozen in time and then creating thousands of images from that primary image. And so part of the problem now is that no one has like a video image of the past to a high degree of expansion, meaning there's not like a lot of terabytes or something to that extent, meaning that if you knew how crazy history really is, maybe it would prevent people from doing crazy things today. Like October 7th wouldn't have happened if there was some methodology, tool, or technology to prevent that type of sociopathic, psychotic, murderous, terrorist behavior.
Wouldn't it be amazing, Colleen, to create, now that we live in this virtual world, you know, that there is a program out there that brings you from the genocide, back in the day, and actually experience, like, seeing Hitler speak in real time, and meanwhile the Germans, how they were acting, and how he
Easy way to teach history. It's probably one of the most important subjects now it's new modern methodology. Always do knowledge stories about the past. That's going on right now. Yeah, our descendants. Away from Earth, somewhere far away.
And then Einstein said he was just the point, like when he died.
What about the metaphysic though of infinity, meaning that you're not aware of your past lives, but like the metaphysic theory would say that you've always been alive to maybe in some form. Have you ever had a feeling of like deja vu or something where maybe I've never had that feeling. I've heard people tell me, hey, do you believe in past? No, like past life deja vu.
Oh, I have deja vu.
Past life deja vu. Yeah. My friend says deja vu is a good thing. That means things are synchronizing, and it's like it's an indication of a good way.
There's a great Stephen King story. I think the title was That Orange, I Don't Know What. I think.
Je ne sais quoi.
No, but they were looking for deja vu.
Oh.
Like, the bit of the story was, I think a guy got, like, stuck in a hell of deja vu.
Have you guys ever had like so strong synchronicities that you actually like get scared? As in, like, you think someone is really trying to communicate with you? Like extremely coincidences.
Well, I mean, someone's trying to communicate with you. Who's probably doesn't listen. Leave your name, number, brief message, and try to get back to you as soon as possible. Lisa, are you going to be in Switzerland this summer? Not Switzerland, but you plan to be in Italy. If you're going to come down. Beach in Sicily. I'm not sure where our flight is going to, whether Morocco or Rome. We'll have to travel either way, deeper into the interior. But I've been in Italy once before, and I actually went to Rome.
Because if you guys fly to Milan, it would be easy for me to see some parts of Switzerland where it's supposed to be very nice for the kids.
We're gonna be here for like a month.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Bike riding and I don't know, like no, come on. And paddleboarding and all these things like that. And we have like these massive gliders, they just glider through the mountain, it's just amazing. Like, somewhere it's really a lot of fun sometimes. So maybe you can make also a visit like a couple of days or so. I can find you stuff to do that is not too far away from and some cute stuff and check it out.
I think it's probably itinerary for a month. It's perfect beach. That's your goal. Always plays the beaches. Trying to get you out of bed.
Does your wife like the beach?
She loves the beach.
I love that. Well, you should show her the lake beaches.
She doesn't like lake beaches, but she doesn't like them as much as the ocean. The ocean, like, there's a country where there's this thing. They're usually pretty placid. Not as much fun to swim in. Also, you don't have as good beach, usually.
Yeah, it's not sunny. It's not rocky.
Yeah, it's like rocky, it's dirty, there's wildlife, there's gotta be like parking, there's a whole bunch of people, it's like,
Well, it depends on the lake. Because we don't have public places. Like, when you drink, that's drinkable water.
fresh clean water.
So you're gonna go see the new one?
Whenever they get one.
Yeah, they should have one everywhere.
Yeah, probably in a couple weeks.
Is it the first time you guys go to Italy? Or like kids?
None of my kids, my wife and I have gone once before. Where are you going, Ellie? Mississippi. I went to Florence. Yeah. Enjoyed Florence, bro. Went to Assisi.
Are you guys gonna go to a hotel or an Airbnb?
Airbnb. And I'm trying to find a place in Tuscany.
Nice. Don't wait too long because they get very expensive.
I know. We're supposed to do it on Sunday.
Are you hiring a car?
I think so, yeah. Now with the kid. And they're running through train stations with my kids.
How many people are there? Like 3, 4?
Great. Yeah, it's gonna be like a different planet for them.
And she loved it. I mean, like, she loved it. The trip to Europe for her, it was like, oh my god, look at that, or oh, this feels different, or look at that food. And I took them to Disney in Paris, and she was so happy. Like, it was such a beautiful time.
You ever notice how when people actually talk in Edmund's rooms, like when they use the Edmund room as if it were like a normal room,